He bit me, I swear, she sobbed to Animal Control. But the fake wounds didn't match Max's teeth, and I caught her rehearsing the report on tape. She went from toxic to criminal. I never thought I'd be writing this, but here we are. My girlfriend Victoria just gave me an ultimatum between her and my dog Max, and I'm pretty sure she orchestrated the whole thing. Reddit, I need some perspective because I feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm Marcus, 30, work as a veterinary technician, and I've had Max for 8 years. He's a golden retriever mix who's been with me through everything: my dad's death, vet school struggles, job changes, you name it. Victoria and I have been together for 2 years, and she's always been particular about Max. She tolerates him but makes these little comments about dog hair, the smell, how much attention I give him. Last Tuesday changed everything. I came home to find Victoria crying in the living room, clutching her beige Dior handbag. The strap had been nearly chewed off, and the leather was scratched and torn in a way that couldn't be fixed. This wasn't just any purse. She'd called it her investment piece. It cost over $4,000. Max was cowering in the corner, which should have been my first red flag because he never acts guilty unless he's actually done something wrong. Victoria was hysterical. He destroyed my bag, Marcus. This is the final straw. I can't live like this anymore. She kept saying how she'd left them by the door like always, how Max had never touched her things before, how this proved he was jealous of her. Then came the ultimatum: it's me or the dog, choose. Here's where things got strange. Victoria is obsessively tidy. Her designer bags are always stored on the top shelf of our bedroom closet or on her dresser. I've lived with her for 6 months, and I've never seen one lying near the entryway. But that day, her most expensive purse just happened to be left on the floor near the front door, right where Max could reach it. When I asked, her story changed. First she was late, then stressed, then claimed she always left them there, which is false. I've lived with her for 6 months, that never happens. Max is 8, well-trained, and never destroys anything. I work with animals, I know this wasn't normal. I checked security footage. She left at 8:30 a.m. but came home at 11:15, stayed 20 minutes, then left again. She never mentioned returning. Then I found photos on her phone that looked completely staged. Max sitting near her handbag, with camera angles carefully framed to make it look like he was chewing the strap or pawing at the leather. It was calculated. When I confronted her, she exploded, ranting about how I always chose Max over her. But she never denied setting it up. Here's what really gets me. I've been with Max through my darkest moments. When my dad died suddenly 3 years ago, Max slept next to me every night for months. When I was struggling through veterinary technician school, working double shifts and barely sleeping, Max was my constant companion. He's not just a pet, he's family. But Victoria, she's been systematically trying to undermine that relationship. The comments about dog hair, the suggestions about maybe finding Max a better home with a yard, the way she schedules activities during his walk times. I thought she was just adjusting to living with a pet, but now I see it was calculated. The worst part is how she's been talking to our friends about this. She's been telling people that I'm obsessed with my dog, that I refuse to compromise, that she's tried everything to make it work. She's painting herself as the long-suffering girlfriend who just wants commitment, and me as the guy who can't prioritize his relationship. I found out she's been messaging my friends' girlfriends, asking them to talk sense into me about choosing a dog over a future wife. She's even posted cryptic Instagram stories about knowing your worth and not settling for second place to a pet. The manipulation is incredible. So here I am, Reddit. My girlfriend of 2 years destroyed her own expensive bag to frame my dog and force me to choose between them. She's been planning this for weeks, maybe months, building a case against Max while positioning herself as the victim. And now, she's launched a social media campaign to make me look like the unreasonable one. I love Victoria, or I thought I did. But seeing this calculated manipulation, the way she's willing to traumatize an innocent animal to get what she wants, I don't know who this person is anymore. Max has been loyal to me for 8 years through everything. Victoria has been manipulating me for months to eliminate what she sees as competition. The choice seems obvious, but I keep second-guessing myself. Am I crazy for thinking she staged this whole thing? Is it possible I'm so attached to Max that I'm seeing conspiracy where there isn't one? Or is this exactly the kind of manipulation I should be running from? What would you do, Reddit? And please, be honest, am I missing something here, or is this as messed up as it seems? Update coming soon. You won't believe how deep this rabbit hole goes. Okay, so I am back with the update one. She's been poisoning my friends against me with lies about my mental health. It's been a week since my original post about Victoria and the shoe incident. First off, thank you to everyone who responded. Reading your comments helped me realize I wasn't going crazy. But holy shit, things have gotten so much worse than I imagined. I thought the destroyed bag were bad. I was wrong. That was just the tip of the iceberg. After posting here, I decided to dig deeper into Victoria's behavior patterns. What I found has completely shattered my perception of our entire relationship. She hasn't just been manipulating me, she's been systematically destroying my reputation and mental health for months. It started when my best friend Tyler pulled me aside on Thursday. He's been my roommate before Victoria moved in, and he's always been straight with me. "Dude," he said, "I need to tell you something and you're not going to like it." Apparently, Victoria had been calling him regularly, expressing concern about my mental state. She told him I'd been obsessing over Max to an unhealthy degree, that I talked to the dog more than to her, that she's worried about my inability to form human connections. But here's the kicker: she's been doing this for 6 months, long before any problems in our relationship were apparent to me. Tyler said he'd been meaning to mention it, but Victoria made him promise not to because she was trying to handle it delicately. She positioned herself as the caring girlfriend just trying to help her troubled boyfriend. The manipulation was surgical. She told Tyler I'd been having episodes where I'd refused to leave Max alone, that I'd canceled date nights to stay home with the dog, that I'd been talking to Max like he was a person in concerning ways. None of this was true, but she delivered it with such genuine concern that Tyler started watching me differently, looking for signs of the problems she'd described. Then I talked to my coworker Sarah, and the pattern became clear. Victoria had approached her at a coffee shop 3 weeks ago, coincidentally running into her. During their conversation, Victoria mentioned how worried she was about me, how I'd been struggling with attachment issues since my father's death. She suggested that maybe my colleagues at the veterinary clinic had noticed changes in my behavior. Sarah admitted she'd been watching me more closely after that conversation, looking for signs of instability. Victoria had planted seeds of doubt about my professional competence with someone I work with every day. At my job, where I handle animals and medications and need people to trust my judgment. But the worst discovery came when I checked my social media more carefully. Victoria had been posting Instagram stories, not permanent posts, just 24-hour stories that disappear, painting a picture of our relationship that was completely false. Screenshots of text conversations taken out of context, photos of Max with captions like, "When your boyfriend's dog gets more attention than you do," selfies with fake sad expressions, and captions about feeling second best. She'd been building a narrative for months. To anyone following her stories, I looked like a guy who was emotionally unavailable, obsessed with his pet, and potentially unstable. She never posted anything directly attacking me. It was all subtle, victim-coded content that made her look like the patient girlfriend dealing with a difficult situation. The really sick part: she'd been screenshotting supportive comments from her followers and saving them. I found a folder on her laptop called Support, filled with messages from her friends saying things like, "You deserve better," "He needs therapy," "Choose yourself, queen." She'd been cultivating a support network for months, preparing for this exact moment. I confronted her about all of this on Saturday. Her response was terrifying in its calculated coldness. She didn't deny anything. Instead, she said, "I've been trying to help you see that you have a problem, Marcus. Everyone can see it except you." She turned my discovery of her manipulation into evidence of my paranoia. "This is exactly what I've been talking about. You're so obsessed with that dog that you're creating conspiracy theories about people trying to help you." The gaslighting was masterful. She made me question my own perceptions even as I was holding evidence of her lies. For about 10 minutes, I actually wondered if I was losing my mind. That's how good she was at this. But then I remembered something crucial. Max wasn't just a pet to me, he was my emotional support during the worst period of my life. When my dad died suddenly of a heart attack, I was a mess. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't function. Max would lie next to me for hours, sensing my grief in that way dogs do. He'd nudge me when I needed to eat, force me to go outside for walks, give me a reason to maintain some kind of routine. Victoria knew this story. I'd told her about Max's role in my grief process, how he'd literally helped save my mental health during that time, and she'd weaponized it. She took my most vulnerable period and twisted it into evidence of unhealthy attachment. She used my father's death as ammunition against me. That's when I realized this wasn't just about choosing between a girlfriend and a dog. This was about someone who would systematically destroy my relationships, my reputation, and my mental health to get what she wanted. Someone who would take my trauma and use it as a weapon against me. I started documenting everything. Screenshots of her social media stories before they disappeared, text messages, the timeline of her conversations with my friends. I reached out to my mom, who'd always been polite but distant with Victoria. "Oh honey," she said, "I've been waiting for you to see it. That woman has been trying to isolate you from everyone who cares about you." Turns out my mom had noticed the pattern months ago. Victoria's subtle comments about how codependent I was with Max, how I used the dog as an excuse to avoid intimacy, how she was trying to help me grow up. My mom had been watching Victoria systematically undermine my confidence and relationships, but she knew I had to see it for myself. The scariest part is how close Victoria came to succeeding. I'd started questioning my own judgment, wondering if maybe I was too attached to Max, if maybe I was avoiding adult responsibilities. She'd been slowly eroding my sense of reality for months, and I hadn't even noticed. But here's what she didn't count on. I work with animals every day. I understand loyalty, unconditional love, and genuine connection. Max has never lied to me, never manipulated me, never tried to change who I am. He's been consistent, faithful, and loving for 8 years. Victoria has been calculating, manipulative, and deceptive for months. The choice is becoming clearer every day. But Reddit, I'm realizing this is bigger than just ending a relationship. Victoria has been telling lies about my mental health to mutual friends, to my coworkers, to anyone who will listen. She's been building a case against me for months, and now I need to figure out how to clear my name. I'm scared about what she might do next. If she's willing to destroy her own bag and gaslight me about it, if she's willing to spread lies about my mental health, what else is she capable of? Tomorrow I'm meeting with a lawyer to discuss my options. I'm also planning to have a conversation with my boss at the clinic about Victoria's attempts to undermine my professional reputation. This can't continue. Max is sleeping next to me as I write this, completely unaware of the storm swirling around him. He's been my constant companion through everything, and he deserves better than to be used as a pawn in someone's manipulation game. Victoria wants me to choose between her and Max. She's made that choice easy, but now I need to figure out how to protect myself from the damage she's already done. Okay, we got the update too. I'm shaking as I write this. Victoria has escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. What started as destroyed bag has become a full-scale campaign to destroy my life and potentially get Max killed. It's been 3 weeks since my last update, and I thought I'd seen the worst of Victoria's manipulation. I was wrong, so fucking wrong. Last Monday, I was at work when I got a call from my apartment building's management office. "Mr. Thompson, we need to discuss your dog immediately. We've received multiple complaints about aggressive behavior." My heart dropped. Max has never been aggressive in his entire life. He's literally afraid of butterflies. I rushed home to find a notice taped to my door. "Dangerous animal, immediate review required." The management company had received 3 separate complaints about Max in the past week, all describing incidents of aggressive behavior toward residents and unprovoked attacks. The complaints were detailed, specific, and completely fabricated. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. 2 hours later, Animal Control showed up at my door. Someone had filed an official bite report claiming Max had attacked them in the hallway, leaving significant injuries. The officer was professional, but serious bite reports are taken extremely seriously, especially for larger dogs. If substantiated, Max could be quarantined, declared dangerous, or even euthanized. I was in complete shock. Max hadn't left my apartment except for supervised walks, and he'd never shown aggression toward anyone. I asked to see the bite report, and that's when I saw Victoria's handiwork. The victim was listed as V. Sterling. Victoria had filed a false police report claiming my own dog had attacked her. The bite photos Victoria submitted were clearly fake. The spacing was off, the depth inconsistent, and there were no punctures. Nothing matched Max's teeth. As a vet tech, I recognized the fabrication instantly, but Animal Control didn't know me. They saw a large dog, a dramatic report, and complaints. Max was placed under quarantine, and I was warned I could face charges. That's when I realized Victoria's goal, not just to make me choose between her and Max, but to have him euthanized and destroy my career. I called Dr. Foster, who confirmed Max's calm temperament and backed me with a written statement. Meanwhile, Victoria launched a social media smear campaign, showing fake injuries and tagging news outlets. The public turned on me. I spent the next day pulling security footage showing her sneaking into my place, proving Max's innocence and revealing her setup. I also discovered Victoria had been researching animal control procedures for weeks. Her browser history showed searches for how to report dangerous dog bite evidence, getting aggressive dog removed, an animal control investigation process. She'd been planning this for at least a month. The fake bite marks were the most damning evidence. I took detailed photos and had Dr. Foster examine them. "These aren't dog bites," she confirmed. "The pattern is all wrong, the depth is inconsistent, and there's no tissue damage that would match an actual attack." She suspected Victoria had used makeup and possibly self-inflicted superficial scratches to create the appearance of bite marks. But the most chilling discovery came when I checked Victoria's social media activity more carefully. She'd been building up to this moment for weeks, posting subtle content about feeling unsafe and protecting yourself from dangerous situations. She'd been laying groundwork for her victim narrative, creating a timeline that would support her false report. I realized she'd been documenting everything about Max's size, his breed mix, his daily routine. She'd been taking photos and videos that could be used as evidence of aggressive behavior if edited or taken out of context. She'd been building a case against an innocent animal for weeks. The breaking point came when I discovered she'd contacted my workplace directly. Victoria had called the veterinary clinic, claiming to be a concerned citizen who'd learned that an employee was harboring a dangerous animal. She suggested that someone who couldn't control their own pet shouldn't be working with animals professionally. She was trying to get me fired. Dr. Foster was furious when she learned about the call. "Marcus, this woman is trying to destroy your career and your companion. This isn't just manipulation, this is malicious harassment." She offered to provide any support needed to fight Victoria's false claims. That's when I decided to fight back. I hired a lawyer who specializes in false reporting. Filing a fake dog bite report is a serious crime. We had proof Victoria fabricated everything. Staged photos, a timeline, even security footage. I shared it with our social circle. Some were horrified and supportive, others brushed it off as relationship drama. Meanwhile, Victoria's social media campaign reached local news. Reporters were calling, my building considered eviction, and Max was still under quarantine. He was stressed and confused. His only crime was being loved by the wrong person. Victoria kept texting me, alternating concern and threats, but I was done. I had the truth and I was ready to expose her. She crossed a line from toxic to criminal, and she still thought she was justified. My lawyer said we needed a public resolution. Victoria made this public, so that's how it will end. Jake's engagement party is this weekend. Victoria will be there. She thinks she's won. She has no idea what's coming. Final update here, and we come to the end now. I'm still processing what happened this weekend. 2 months after Victoria destroyed her own bag to frame Max, I finally got justice. But the confrontation was more explosive than I ever imagined, and the aftermath has been absolutely wild. Jake's engagement party was last Saturday night. Victoria had been posting about it all week, playing the supportive friend while continuing her whisper campaign about my mental health issues and Max's dangerous behavior. She had no idea I'd been planning this moment for weeks, gathering evidence and coordinating with my lawyer. I arrived at the engagement party with a folder full of evidence, security footage, veterinary reports, screenshots of Victoria's browser history, and a detailed analysis of the fake bite photos. My mom came with me for support, and Tyler was by my side as a witness. Dr. Foster had even provided a written statement describing Max's temperament and outlining Victoria's pattern of harassment at our clinic. Victoria was holding court near the bar, playing the role of the concerned ex-girlfriend. I overheard her spinning the same tired narrative. I really tried to help him. The dog was becoming dangerous. I had to protect myself. 2 months had passed, and she was still milking sympathy with the same lies. The moment came when Jake called for everyone's attention to give a toast. About 30 people gathered, friends, colleagues, family. Victoria stood right in the center, glowing in the attention. That's when I asked if I could speak first. I need to address some things that have been said about me and about Max. Victoria's face went pale. She knew. I began with the handbag incident, explaining how Victoria had deliberately left her $4,000 Dior purse on the floor, somewhere she never leaves it, just to set Max up. I showed the footage of her coming home midday, placing it near the entryway, then leaving again. The room was silent. Victoria interrupted, accusing me of another episode, but I continued. I showed side-by-side images of the fake bite marks next to Dr. Foster's analysis, no punctures, no consistent spacing, no matching damage. Then I played the recording, Victoria's own voice rehearsing her false report. Okay, so I'll say he lunged at me in the hallway around 2 p.m. The reaction was instant. Gasps, people shaking their heads. No one could deny what they were hearing. You were going to have his dog killed over what, a breakup? Sarah, Jake's fiancée, asked. Victoria snapped. She screamed that I was obsessed with Max, that she deserved better, that I chose a dog over her. She admitted everything in front of everyone. Then my mom stepped forward, calm but furious. Victoria, you didn't just lie, you tried to destroy an innocent animal and my son's life with it. Phones were out. Videos were recording. The same audience Victoria had deceived now saw her for who she really was. Jake quietly asked her to leave. As she stormed out, she turned to me and hissed, "You'll regret this one day when it's just you and that dog." Tyler burst out laughing. "You tried to kill his dog, that's not love, that's deranged." After she left, the whole room shifted. Friends approached, apologizing for doubting me, shocked by what they'd seen. The truth had finally come to light and Max's name was cleared. "I can't believe I fell for her act," said my friend Emma. "She was so convincing about being worried about you. I actually thought you might be having problems." That night marked the moment I finally understood just how deep Victoria's manipulation ran. It wasn't just petty lies or occasional jealousy. She had spent months orchestrating a calculated campaign to isolate me, undermine my credibility, and shatter my peace of mind. She twisted my grief over my father's death into something shameful, calling it unhealthy attachment. She took my love for Max, my dog, my companion, and turned it into a weapon, painting him as aggressive and unstable. It wasn't just about control. It was about erasing everything that grounded me so she could stand alone in the center of my world. But the universe had one last surprise for her. About an hour after Victoria stormed out of the party, Dr. Foster showed up. She'd seen the social media chaos unfold and wanted to show her support. And she didn't come alone. Max walked in beside her. The reaction was immediate. Max, the dog Victoria had described as violent and dangerous, walked into that room with the calm confidence of a therapy animal. He greeted people gently, leaned into pets, wagged his tail like he belonged there. The room shifted. People stared, then laughed, then started taking pictures. "This is the vicious animal Victoria was so afraid of?" Jake asked, kneeling to scratch Max behind the ears. "He's literally the sweetest dog I've ever met." Photos flooded Instagram and Twitter, captioned with things like "meeting the dangerous dog" and "the real victim in this mess." Victoria's narrative unraveled in real time. Within hours, the tide had turned, and she was drowning in the truth. Animal Control reviewed the evidence and closed their case. My apartment complex rescinded their dangerous animal notice and even issued a formal apology. Victoria's false report. It's now in the hands of the district attorney. Filing false police reports is a felony, but it was the social media fallout that delivered the most satisfying justice. Screenshots of her fake injury photos, taken from Google, it turns out, started circulating. The voice memo of her plotting the false report got shared hundreds of times. Her carefully constructed victim persona crumbled. And then people started reaching out. Turns out I wasn't her first target. Others shared stories of eerily similar patterns, emotional crises created out of nowhere, loyalty tests, subtle sabotage. She had a pattern. She just never expected her past to catch up to her this time. The professional consequences hit fast. She works in marketing, image is everything. Her company was tagged in countless posts. Apparently she's now on administrative leave while they investigate. And honestly, that's not my problem anymore. Max is safe. He's sleeping next to me as I type this, totally unaware that someone once tried to destroy him just to prove a point. He's the same loyal, loving companion he's always been. And me, I've learned more in the past few months than I ever expected. Victoria's tactics were subtle, sustained, and psychological. She used love as leverage, grief as guilt, and trust as a trap. But she underestimated one thing, the truth, and the people who stood by me. If I hadn't trusted my instincts that day, the shoe incident, the sudden bite accusation, the odd behavior, I might have lost Max. But I did trust them. I documented everything. I spoke up. And when the truth finally came out, it set us both free. Even better, Dr. Foster introduced me to Amanda, a behaviorist vet who's helped Max and me through this whole ordeal. She called me brave. Said it takes strength to fight for someone who can't speak for themselves. We've been talking more and there's a spark. Something genuine, something new. Victoria once made me choose between her and Max. She tried to manipulate me into giving up the one soul who'd shown me nothing but loyalty and love. But she failed. And in doing so, she revealed who she really was. I chose Max, and I'd do it again. To anyone reading this, if something feels off, trust yourself. Keep records. Protect the ones who protect you. And remember, someone who would hurt an innocent creature just to control you is not someone you want in your life. Believe them the first time. Max and I are thriving. Victoria is finally facing consequences. And I'm learning that real love doesn't force ultimatums. It stands beside you, wagging its tail, waiting to walk through the world with you. Thanks for following our story, Reddit. Sometimes the good guys and the good dogs really do win.